Hello, my name is Ashley Pike, and today I'll be introducing you all to my roommate, Allie Hill. Her full name is Allison Hill, just for fun fact. For most people, they know someone they want to room with at college, whether it's a friend, a school buddy, or even family. But not in my case. I was going into my sophomore year and I had no one to room with. So I took the plunge and I did the random roommate assignment, and that is how I met my wonderful roommate, Allie. Allison Hill was born on May 27, 2001. So I'm sure you were wondering a few questions like, where is she from? Well, Allie was born in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, which is south of Frankfort, about 13 miles outside of it. She has been there her whole life and is in the same house. Fun fact, they have no bowling alley there, and she has never been bowling. Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? Her family also, she has her dad, her mom, and her younger sister. Her father's name is Alan, but he goes by Tyler. Her mother's name is Lori, which is ironically my mom's name, and her younger sister Brooklyn, who is also 15 years old. Her and her sister are not the best of friends, but they get along, like as most siblings do. She is very close with her family, and her dad works night shifts, which makes for a unique family dynamic. Do you want to explain a little bit about your family?
Yeah, sure. My whole life, my dad has worked at the same job. He works at Toyota in Georgetown, and so he works night shift, which I'm sure most everybody's familiar with. But what makes that different is that, so like whenever I was growing up, all my friends would be like, "Do you want to go do things on the weekend? Like, what do you want to do?" Because for most families, you have a dad and a mom who work during the day while you're at school, and then like at night is kind of your family time when everybody's together. But for my family, that wasn't necessarily the case. So on the weekends was our like family time. So that kind of made my family different growing up because like I could I would have all the time during the week to do things with my friends, but then on the weekends, like that was set apart and I usually didn't do anything. And that was just normal for me. But like growing up and then people like realizing how other people's families were, it made me kind of realize how different, how unique my family was. So, yeah.
And her hobbies are quite unique and different than the average teenager. Allie loves to travel, and her few favorite places she has been to are all of the Caribbean islands except for St. Thomas. She has been to 40 states, including Yellowstone National Park, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, Alaska, and Canada. She also enjoys studying theology, and she reads all the time, whether it's for school, a new book, or the Bible. When she isn't reading, she loves to be with her friends and outdoors. Her best friends are Mallory, Colton, Cameron, and Carter, and they are all very nice and funny, like Allie.
True.
The reason she studies theology is because her faith is so important to her. Allie grew up a Christian and was baptized at the age of 8. Her church split in the March of 2012, which was very hard for her. It was like she lost her second family. She lost important people in her life, and she hasn't talked to most people since the split. Her favorite Bible chapter is Psalms 51 because she can relate to the brokenness and repentfulness. She loves listening to sermons, podcasts, hymns, and because she believes it has a purpose. Do you want to explain why you like theology a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Like I was saying, growing up, my family was a bit different than other people's. And so my dad has always been like a very integral part in like just like guiding me in my faith and just like teaching me different things about like not necessarily what I should believe, but just like telling me, just like giving me a reason to like study and to like just to study the Bible. And so from a young age, I've always thought that was really interesting. And so my family has like almost every Saturday night and Sunday night or whenever we're on the road traveling doing anything, we're usually the conversation usually goes back to theology or what we're studying in the Bible. And so like that just happens to be a lot of what our conversation is. And so I guess like whatever you're around, that's kind of what makes you, and that's definitely the case. So yeah, I really like to just do different studies and just have those conversations with my parents. So yeah.
One thing she has also struggled with is her whole life is that she has a neurodegenerative disease. And sorry, that was a super hard big word for me to say. Allie had absent seizures when she was younger, which caused her to be put on medicine called, excuse me if I'm saying this wrong, levotitricum. The medicine caused Allie to have memory loss, hallucinations, and to be more emotional than normal. She now has a memory capacity of about 3 months, which means she doesn't remember her childhood or events unless the pictures or her family talks about it a lot. Do you just want to explain a little bit about how that's like
Yeah.
affected you?
So like it's definitely it's not something I necessarily think about a lot because I've kind of gotten used to it, but that's definitely kind of like a shocking thing whenever people are like, "Oh, do you remember this?" I'm like, "I don't remember much past 3 months ago," and so that's kind of been hard for some of my friends and stuff to get used to because it didn't start until I was older. So just like being conscious of like not remembering events, that was kind of a strain on some relationships, but it's definitely like made me who I am because like not many people can say that. So, but yeah. It's also presented a lot of challenges in my family because it's like you know how to get here, right? Or you know that person and it's like, no, I don't. So, yeah, it kind of impacted every branch of my life in some way.
And me, being the dumb blonde I am, asked her the other night if she would remember that we roomed together after 3 months. So, yes. And a bit about how we met, as I mentioned earlier, Allie was going into her freshman year at Campbellsville, and I was going into my sophomore year. We both decided to do the random roommates. We were really nervous, but neither of us knew what to expect. We got each other's numbers 2 weeks before we moved in, which is not a lot of time to talk to somebody you're about to live with. And we talked vaguely and about our ideas for the room. Once we moved in together, although it was awkward at first, we have become really good friends and learned new things about each other every day. And I would like to say this assignment has really helped me get to know Allie and
Yeah.
Allie get to know myself, which is really cool. Being matched with a random roommate scared us both, but it ended up giving us a new friend and an awesome roommate. Allie has been so sweet and funny since we have been together, and I can see our friendship being lifelong. I know a common stereotype is having a horrible roommate who you don't know, but we communicate well and listen to one another. If any of you are scared to do the random roommate, I would highly recommend it and encourage you to do and try new things because I found an amazing friend when I did it. And I think one reason that we work so well together when because we're living together is because we communicate and like we're pretty easygoing people.
Yeah.
But so I have a few references. One was from WebMD because of her neurodegenerative disease, and her pastor, Steve Wells, and her mother, Lori Hill. So that's all. Thank you for listening, and this is Allie.